You can hear the whine as I'm going uphill. I put a little bit of load on the engine. See if I can't be a little quieter here so you can actually hear it. That right there is pretty straightforward. That's a bearing. That's a bearing somewhere in my serpentine belt. Sounds probably like one of those idlers because it doesn't change when I turn, so it's probably not my power steering. And it's got a very distinct rise when I accelerate. So take a look under the hood when we get back and see how that goes. Alright, so I got a couple of idler pulleys here that I'm worried about. That first one is this guy right here, you can see. Next one is the one that's actually on the belt tensioner where that ratchet is. And the other one is down here, this guy. This is the one I actually think is bad because when it's spinning and it's turning, you can actually see it wobbling back and forth. I'm gonna get the belt off and then I'm gonna spin them all and try and figure out which one it is. Get this belt off, shouldn't be too big a deal. This is a spring-loaded tensioner, so I'm just gonna pull down. I've got my my wrench in here, pull it down, get the tension off and slide the belt down and off of one of these pulleys and give me a little bit of room to work with. That's the theory anyways. Alright, pop the belt off, and if we listen, that's good. There's nothing wrong with that one, and I did the same down here on the idler for the tensioner. It's nice and smooth. If we get down to the guy that I think it is, and I'm now even more sure about it because as I spin this one, I can hear a little whee, which is exactly what it sounds like when my car is driving. So get that bad boy off, put a new one on, call it a day. So right here, I got it on. That's a 1/2 inch. I've already broken it free. Just be able to pull this bad boy off. I want to make sure I don't drop the bolt, lose it. But anyways, I'll continue doing this. I'll put the new one in its place. Put a little bit of thread lock on it. I'm going to use a medium strength thread lock, which is the blue stuff, so that it doesn't back out on me. And I've got to torque this bolt back down to 18 foot-pounds. So that's where I'm going to be. I'm going to pop this off, put the new one on, and hopefully I'll show it to you running. All right. This is what I show you. So this is my new one, and it might be a little hard to tell. If I hold in the inner race and I shake it, I don't hear anything at all. Take this guy, this is the one I just pulled off, the bad one. You can hear. So all the lubrication's gone out of that, and the two races are actually allowed to move a little bit on the bearings that are inside, which is, this thing is pretty much shot. I mean, it'll still do its job for a while, but it was starting to get pretty loud. Hey, there you go. Just put a little bit of thread lock on that end, and I'm doing it towards the bottom of the threads because in this bolt, for some reason, they decided to go with a fully threaded bolt, and only this bottom third is actually threaded into the block. So I don't need to go all the way up, and in fact I don't want to because I don't want that to bind onto my bearing. So I'm going to put this bad boy in, bearing, and the new pulley already sitting on the nub that's coming off the engine block. Just put this bad boy back in. So there you go. I got this, my torque wrench set to 18 foot-pounds, which is the correct setting for this bolt according to the manufacturer, which you know, roughly equates to about, you know, just 22, something like that, Newton meters. But anyways, we'll go with 18 since we're in America. Alright, it's all back on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to bump over the car a couple of times to make sure that these this belt is properly aligned on all of these pulleys, because it's just a little off, or I've got it just not inside the groove on one of these grooved pulleys. It really jacks some stuff up. So I don't want it. I'm just going to bump it over and then look at the belt alignment again. Everything looks fine right now, but you never know until it starts moving. Well, it's quieter, so it turns out I had two bearings that were going, and I chose one that was definitely bad. I'm pretty sure this guy right here, that guy's also the culprit, because when I was spinning them, that guy had the same kind of feeling and sound as the one I replaced. But you can see that one that I did replace is no longer wobbling, so that's a positive. So that one needed to be replaced anyways. Now I just gotta go get the part for that idler up on top of the one that I just replaced. Same exact process, just gotta do it. Alright, so the winding is gone. Had to replace that top one that looks all shiny and new and the one right below it. They were both shot. But actually that top one
which I didn't think was as bad, was by far the worst. But that bottom one was wobbling, so that had to be replaced too. So, hey, look, we're good. Wasn't too bad. About like 10 minutes worth of work, even though I had to do it twice. Here's the other pulley that I pulled out. If you listen, it's really rough too. It doesn't continue to roll, so you can tell bearings are bad. Well, first of all, you can see the rust on the race on this one here, but you can normally tell they're supposed to have a little bit of resistance to rolling, but it should be smooth resistance. Like this one right now, I'm pulling and I can definitely feel different catches in it. Like it's catching right there, catching right there. Get a nice sealed bearing that's well lubricated and good will just very smoothly continue to turn. It shouldn't just be no resistance though, so like I pull this thing and it just goes and goes and goes and goes. That's not the kind of bearing that this is, so that's not something that would be a good thing. So anyways, replace two of these. This guy right here is like 20 bucks, and then we replace this guy over here, which again, this guy was I think $25, $27, so it wasn't too bad a deal. If we wanted to, so this is an example of it going, that's not smooth resistance, that's a shop bearing. This guy right here, if we wanted to, on both of these, we could pop out, and you can see what the bearing number is right there. You just pop these bearings out of these casings on both of these and replace both of those. Definitely something you could do. I opted to not do it just because I'm lazy and it's cold outside. So yeah, anyways, this probably could have, that bearing right there is probably like an $8 to $10 bearing. Same with this guy here. This guy might be a little bit more expensive, but you know, not by a lot.